All right. I don't know if the chat box is going to work, but oh well. All right. You see the card there. So, what do you think, Dave? Yes, yes, yes. So, before we get ultra serious story time, how are you doing?
Uh, I'm doing well enough, all things considered. A little tired from 7 straight days of retail hell.
Woohoo! Yeah. Does this mean you actually get a day off for once?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, on average, I usually only work about 3, 4 days straight, but yeah, we had a little marathon going now.
Oh, yeah. You gotta love those, don't you?
Yep.
Uh, so, I guess it's story time. Maybe it's story time. I don't know.
Yes, you can story time because, you know, best I got is me, you know, messing around with Twitter and testing how easy it is to get the attention of semi famous people.
Semi famous. Do tell.
Oh, about 3 weeks back, while on one of my many uh, pro Ghostbusters train of thoughts, I basically did a little ass kissing to Eric Burnham, the writer of the IDW series, and he liked the tweet. So nothing that doesn't happen a billion times a day on Twitter, but hey, given how rarely I tweet and how rarely it actually involves any real people,
Oh, yeah.
works. Specifically, the comment that he should be the one writing the script for the next Ghostbusters movie.
Now that is some ass kissing.
Hey, given how shit bad a job they did with the reboot a few years ago and how excellent the ongoing series is, I'm willing to say that's ass kissing based in logic.
It could be. It could be.
But yeah, that's the best story I got. What can you do to top that?
Absolutely nothing.
Well, you did promise people last episode that there would be discussion of bounty hunting escapades
Oh,
that
yeah.
are not quite as good as reality TV.
Oh, yeah. I know. Okay, okay, I got you. I'm adjusting the YouTube chat. It might look a little bit weird, but you know what? You'll deal with it. As remember, I'm just learning to screw around with OBS these days because I haven't been able to.
Understandable, but yeah, now that I've gone back, viewed the minis and one shots that preceded Eric Burnham's ongoing, I'll probably dig into my archive and start doing all that. So eventually, the entire IDW Ghostbusters run will be reviewed, and if not in chronological order, at least it'll all be there.
Oh, yeah, understandable.
Probably not issue by issue, folks. Going by most of what I've done, probably by like story arc or volume run.
Yeah.
I'll have to sit down and, work through the first one, see how that goes, and see how my pacing is.
Definitely understandable. So, all right, let's get into it. So, a long, long time ago in a place far, far away. Okay, and it was about 2000. I'm trying to think. What did I get? All right, it's about 2005, and the faraway place was middle of nowhere, Tennessee. So,
Okay, to be fair, Tennessee actually does take a bit of time to drive through, so yeah, we can call that far, far away.
yeah. Driving from Memphis all the way to Bristol is about an 8 hour trip, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's about the north to south run of Georgia.
Yeah, we're not so much long, we're just.
I'd have to go back and map the east west.
Good point. Yeah, it's not as bad as ours. Okay, so.
It's close though. Georgia's a big ass state.
Oh, it really is. Kind of fat.
Well, it's all those fried Twinkies and
Oh,
the corn dogs.
and then that Sweetwater beer. So,
Yeah.
as I said a long, long time ago in a land far away, I was hurting for employment. Just gotten out of the military and, recovering nicely from a brain injury. You get the idea. You do need to serve a little bit of brain damage to do the job that I was doing.
I thought you were about to say you pretty much have to have some kind of mental detox period after being in combat. Cause
Yeah, you kind of do too.
scary.
Yeah, you kind of do too. But here we go. The thing about bounty hunting is only legal in two countries, the United States and the Philippines. Everywhere else, you do get charged with a felony kidnapping charge if you try to collect a bounty, unless you're working in accordance with the U.S. Marshals, and it's a country that they can't exactly get to, but you get permission from that country's government. Now, we all know about the.
Oh
What,
yeah, any good country will have some sort of bylaw that will let you loophole it.
you remember the whole deal with Dwayne Chapman, Dog the Bounty Hunter, uh, Tim Chapman, and his and Dog's son Leland. Where they went to Mexico to get Andrew Luster, the Max Factor heir. There was a slight problem with that. Would you like to guess what the problem was?
Dog's kind of a douchebag.
Well, that's one.
Jurisdiction.
Uh-huh. Would you like to guess the other problem? It's a doozy.
His wife's implants tried to float away.
Damn it, Bobby. It's kind of illegal to do bounty hunting in Mexico. And by kinda, I mean, it really is. So, bounty hunter as a term, you have to realize whenever you call someone a bounty hunter, they hate that term. Hate it. There's been some negative connotations to the term bounty hunter since, I want to say, you remember the man who caught Billy the Kid? Garrett.
Yeah.
Yeah, not some good connotations since Garrett. So, here's the thing.
Unless you're some piss poor Hollywood
Yeah,
fictional movie bounty hunter in which you're like, yay, that means I'm a badass.
kinda. But it goes like this. The thing about what the job is now, which is basically bail enforcement. Here's how it works. The United States had a concept that England used to have. Although, whenever you put on bond, that means a person was going to be there. A principal would be set in for a criminal. Let's say the criminal goes on the run, right?
Yeah.
And you're his principal. Yeah, you're stuck in the jail for him. Someone was getting punished. We kind of brought that concept over to America. And let's face it. Oopsie.
Yeah, that would kind of piss me off if I was the poor guy stuck in jail. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, I'm not even the one that touched your daughter, Judge.
Yeah. Okay. So, first things first. Is the practice of bail enforcement, bounty hunting legal? Yes. Yes, it is. But it's only legal in about 46 states. Each state has different requirements. So, okay. I'm going to tell you, go ahead and look up how stuff works under culture, and they'll talk about bounty hunting. How does it work? Stephanie Lawson has a pretty excellent article about it. The state laws do vary. Basically, they have, and I say they now because I'm not in that. I'm not licensed anymore. I can't make any arrests unless I go back under the Tennessee statutes of licensing a bail enforcement agent. Simple enough, right?
Because apparently even when you're in a country where it's legal, they do kind of insist that you have some sort of proof that you understand you're supposed to bring these people back alive and in relatively good health.
Mostly, yeah. You're still going to get in a scuffle with someone that doesn't want to go to jail.
Well, that's why I said relatively good health. It's like,
Yeah.
right, he can still stand trial. He just
Might not be able to stand.
He had to break a couple of his ribs.
Right. So here goes.
No, as opposed to like a,
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme character who would just break his neck for shits and giggles.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Bounty hunters do have greater authority than local police. Basically, when a defendant signs a bail contract, they waive their constitutional rights. You no longer have rights as a U.S. citizen. You are relatively a jailbird. They agree that when I was still licensed, I can go to your door, I can bust down your door. We can waive extradition, and wherever you run to, I can get you. Get the idea?
Unless it's Mexico.
Unless it's Mexico. Then that's a bad idea. And they can even shoot you. And legally should. So here goes. Basically, Kentucky, Illinois, and Oregon, and Wisconsin they have taken out the practice of commercial bonding. If you're a bounty hunter in those 4 states, you're screwed. I know, you want to know the reasoning. They're doing public bond, basically releasing criminals on level of danger. New Jersey has started doing this as well, and California is going to try this. Let's see how fast before California brings up commercial bonding back.
I don't know. It depends on how many local politicians get elected from the hipster SJW community.
More or less. Anyhow.
I've heard the stench is strong in California.
Yeah, especially around San Francisco. So, let's face it. Anyone that's on bond, a bond is an extension. You get a moment of freedom. You can use that to spend time with your family, get a lawyer, prepare your case, find a lawyer that will destroy your case. But you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't get in trouble. Don't be caught with an underage girl. Don't break the law while you're out on someone else's dime.
Because, I mean, the whole point of you having to post bond to begin with is you're already in trouble.
Right. Now, how this works. Let's say, for example, you get arrested. Yeah, they did, Chrono. It's kind of convoluted. But here goes. The simple solution is, all right, Dave, let's say you get arrested for domestic violence. I know you have a girlfriend and you're not going to hit her. Let's hope that never happens. But if that happened, they're going to say bail was set at $500. So.
All right. I give them $500.
No, you don't.
Well.
You'll have to go through a bail bondsman. Bail bondsman takes 10%. So you're going to pay $50. Why not the full $500, right? Here's the trick. Bail money is set to ensure that the person who is charged with a crime shows up. More serious the crime, the higher the bail amount. And if you're completely dangerous, you get no bail. You're staying in jail. In other words, murderers are not going to get, murderers aren't getting bail. They're just staying in jail. Sometimes under the jail if the cops can help it. You get the idea, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, here's your statistic. Yeah, California, they did, Chrono. They did get rid of cash bonds. They did in California, they did in Wisconsin, and they did in New Jersey. Illinois, I want to say a couple of other states. They didn't get rid of cash bonds, but you do have to have a written court order. Basically, the judge has to give you a written court order, and 9 times out of the 10, the cops are going to do it. Although, in the cases of a bail, if you ask the cops nicely, they'll turn it over, and you can go ahead and collect your bounty, which bounty hunters get 10 to 20% of the total bail bond. Yay. So, let's say you go on the run. Yeah, you go on the run. I catch you. Your $500 bond, I get 50 to 75. Yeah, I'm going to say 50 to about $75, $80 for that one. That's mine. Any bounty hunter that works about 80 to 150 cases a year can do about 50,000 to 80,000. But you're going to be putting in hours. Forget nights and weekends. You're driving around some bad neighborhoods. You're going to talk to some dumbasses. You're going to drink shitty coffee. But, oh, and also you got to look for those bad guys too. You know, in between that. You eat crap food. Your hygiene is probably questionable. But it's basically an adrenaline rush for that person. A lot of former military do go into bail enforcement because it's that, yeah, exactly, Cronin. It is tow truck operator hours. You are 24/7. Someone gets arrested, you bail them out. They don't do good, you got to go chase after them. As simple as that. Now, basically, the tradition does come from what you were talking about. It does come from the Wild West, the wanted dead or alive posters, which, by the way, Jesse James was worth $5,000 at that time. Right now, $5,000 in Old West, he'd probably be worth $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, granted, neither one of us have the inflation calculator up and going,
but yeah. He would be bringing in that El Chapo money.
That was a very good amount of money back then.
So, yeah. So, here's how you hunt. You do have to talk to that same dumbass once or twice or 3 times, or sometimes you just got to scare the piss out of them. You got to tell them, hey, you're aiding and abetting a fugitive. I can get the cops over here right now to arrest you for that. And that is a felony. So don't lie to me. So, you do have to fill out paperwork. You do have to have a cosigner. Cosigners, anyone in the bail enforcement industry hates having girlfriend, wife, partner, if they're of the homosexual variety. Never have wives, partners, significant others. Ever. You want to know why, right? Okay.
Real quick sidebar.
Yeah.
To put Jesse James' bounty in perspective.
Yeah.
The 1865 bounty on John Wilkes Booth for his murder of the president,
yeah,
was $100,000.
Yeah, they wanted him bad.
That's what I'm saying. That's about the only bounty from that period I can find that was blatantly higher than Jesse James, and it's yeah, that's how much of a bad boy Jesse James was.
Yeah.
The authorities were concerned.
Right. So, all right, where was I? Yeah.
Loved ones.
Yeah. Mom or dad are okay. Brother is okay. Brother-in-law is okay too. Close friend is okay. Significant others, no. Here's what happens. I'm pissed off at you. You're going back to jail. I'm going to call your bailsman and revocate the bail. Oh, you're out sleeping with that friend of mine? Yep, revoking your bail. We hated that. The reason we hated that was because, as I said, you don't like what I'm doing. I don't like what you're doing. I'm the guy on bond. And then you're going to call my bail bondsman and get me thrown back in jail because you want to use that as a deterrent. Not smart. Because you get to pay 50% of that bond. Yep. Revocations cost money. Because revocations mean I get to call a surety company, which is insurance. Basically what sureties are.
Yeah.
This insurance company trusted me with $100,000, and someone put their house up as collateral to pay that $10,000 that you need to get out of jail. So, of course, they do work with a lot of revocations, because if it's a revocation for good reason, and you're wondering, what's a good reason, right? The guy is out on the street smoking crack and beating on you. If you call and say revoke his bail because he's doing this to me, I'm not going to bat an eyelash. One, I'm going to check and make sure your story is good. If your story is good, most bail bonds men or women, they're going to be like, all right, we'll work this out. We're not going to take your house. We're not going to take anything. We'll set up payments. We'll do something because you got a pretty good reason to revoke his bail. Like, this guy's not doing what we agreed to. That's a good reason. If you're revoking his bail because you're just pissed off at him, I'm going to take as much money as I can. And you're going to like it.
You got to have some sort of,
yeah,
set of ethics in all steps of the process.
But yeah, if the guy is smoking crack and beating you and hitting your children, I'll revoke it for you. I'll revoke that bond for you and show up at his house and like, here I am, fucko. Guess where we're going?
What part of don't do stupid illegal shit did you not understand?
All of it. It seems you didn't understand any of it. Back to jail we go. So,
by the way, I'm going to make sure to find that one really large guy that weight lifts every day in the yard.
And put you with him.
That happens to think spousal abuse is the worst thing on earth. And I'm going to tell him while you're in here.
And for anyone that knows...
You're going to have that happen every day for 10 to 20.
And for everyone that wonders if Dave is kidding, no, he's not.
No. There's a wonderful psychological dichotomy where you will have guys who, just ran drugs, sold crack in elementary school playgrounds, but if they hear you smacked your wife around, well, that's just improper behavior.
Smack your wife around, smack your kids around, starved your kids, beat the elderly, abuse the elderly, take money from the elderly, be a child rapist, be a pedo.
Oh yeah. The pedophilia is that is a whole nother level. That's the point where you look at the guards and say, "Please put me in solitary confinement."
No, I'll take the whole. No, but no. And even the guards are like, nah, no, we don't like you either, buddy.
Yeah.
But here goes. Okay. The chase is, there's a difference between bounty hunters and skip tracers. Skip tracers are annoying, foul pieces of human excrement. They're good at their job. We know one. We do know a skip tracer. But he is a scummy son of a bitch, ain't he?
Wait, which one are we talking about?
Ross.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Gatesy. He is a scummy son of a bitch. And a bit of a cuck. Oh, yeah, that is correct. That is correct. Sometimes you do run into courts that screw up your paperwork. That one, your bail bondsman, talk to him. They'll work with you on that one. I will say that. I know the bondswoman that I worked for, she had a few of those cases. She worked it out with them. And I'll tell you in private, Corona, which bondswoman I worked with. Oh, yeah. Bonds people are not happy whenever you mess up their paperwork. Also, I can say for my bondswoman that I worked for, she was pretty good about this stuff. Very smart. What she did was, oh, you don't see the live chat. Oh, well, go on to the, hold on. Yeah, go there. Go there and put it on mute. You'll see it.
Yeah, otherwise we'll get
Yeah.
feedback
Anyhow,
echo like a bitch.
exactly. But no, the bondswoman I worked for, she would check her stuff 3 times a day when the court was open. Yep, I know you're talking about. I remember that story. All right, but it goes like this. She checked paperwork 3 times a day when the court was open because the worst thing that you want to do is try to arrest someone and they either turn themselves in, the cops caught them and forgot to tell everyone, or you get a false arrest altogether. Some of these guys will try that crap to turn themselves in, get back out, and then you're all gung-ho and you're trying to arrest them, and then your bonds person is like, hey, that guy got, he's back out. He got bailed out. No longer have to worry about it. If you try to arrest him or knock the guy out, you're going to get hit with either an assault or a kidnapping charge.
Wasn't Gung Ho the one from G.I. Joe that was the jarhead?
He is the jarhead. Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought that was awkward that after that first like 2 or 3 story arcs that they did with him, the artist quit drawing the huge USMC logo on his chest.
Oh yeah, that globe and anchor. That's important to draw too. Hama was pissed about that.
They were still calling him a jarhead, but there was like no visual clues as to why the rest of the Joes. It's like, no, because he's like, even among the Joes, super proud of his time as a Marine.
Oh yeah, Hama was pissed about that too. That they didn't draw that globe and anchor.
Yeah, but by that point, that's when Hasbro was really starting to push the.
Yeah, it was.
The more marketing side of the plots on them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
that's another written article.
Yeah, it is.
I may even solo video that one.
It is.
The fact that you can pretty much divide the G.I. Joe Marvel comic into 2 eras. Nobody's actually paying attention, and Hama's writing some of the best comics being put out this year.
Yeah.
And oh crap, Hasbro realized how much money's being made. Now they're exercising their editorial influence.
More or less. But it goes like this.
You were saying.
No, you're good.
Don't
your
go too gung-ho on the...
Yeah. Don't start turning into Jesse James and trying to pistol whip somebody. Oh, by the way, there's another fun fact. You can officially carry a concealed carry as a bail enforcement agent if you don't have a felony. That's an if. Okay. So you want to know... You wondered why Dog the Bounty Hunter had all the mace cans, right?
Ratings?
Nope. I haven't yet, Chrono. I need to. He's asking about Sharky the Bounty Hunter. That one you might want to look at.
I saw that one, yeah.
Yeah, that's one you might want to check out. Oh, no. All right. Yeah, I lose my train of thought all the time. And Chrono is right. He is a felon. Felons cannot carry a gun. They cannot vote. None of that. So yeah, as Dwayne Chapman is listed as a felon for, what was a first-degree murder charge or first-degree manslaughter, something like that, because he wasn't there for the murder of that pimp, but he was the driver. Since he was nearby and assisting, he still got charged.
I think that would be manslaughter because that does go into more being the accessory.
Yeah, he was listed as the accessory. So he
Yeah.
couldn't carry a gun. Hence, he had to get creative with tasers and bear mace.
Yeah, we got this stuff at work now. It's not quite pepper spray. They call it pepper gel.
Yeah.
I need to study in my spare time, like what the exact differences between the gel and the classic pepper spray is.
Yeah. It's worth looking at. And heck, you might need to buy a can. Let's be honest. I'm not saying pull it out.
Maybe if I decide to go up to Atlanta again.
Oh, true enough.
I'm sorry, but, dude, after that bullshit WWE pulled with Raw last night, and their little,
Yeah, I know. I saw it. Let's not discuss that. Now, let's move on.
No, I'm not talking about the top show. I'm talking about the final segment.
I know. No. Let's move on.
Yeah. I might have had to fight some people if I had been there for that live one.
And we did talk about that at the top of the hour, Chrono. Yes, he did. Because Mexico does have some very extreme laws against bounty hunter. And it was Max Factor. DuPont, that family is pretty much long dead. Especially after Jean DuPont and the Fox Chaser massacre. Or Foxcatcher. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Foxcatcher. Yeah, that was sad.
That was.
But
no, he did get in trouble because Mexico does have some extreme laws against bounty hunting. It is a felony kidnapping charge. So if you're a bounty hunter,
I'm not throwing shade on any body of government here, but it is really fascinating what Mexico does and does not allow you to.
Bro, pretty much. All right, but it goes like this.
It just as an American, that is one of those countries, especially with it being so close to us, that you're like,
yeah.
So wait, I can go over there and do all this crazy party shit, and nobody will bat an eye.
Right.
But if I do this thing, that in America we wouldn't even consider it being illegal, let alone a high felony.
Right.
I'm pretty much fucking dead on sight.
Now, bounty hunting is that type of job. If you are legally able to carry a weapon, you may as well. Although, myself, the most I carried was a sidearm. There are some guys that carry out the full shotguns or the civilian use of the AR-15. Still, that's overkill. Sidearms will usually get the job done. If you don't feel like a sidearm, get mace, get a extendable baton. But you know what your best weapon is against, whenever you're going to try to find a criminal like that who's hiding, deep inside mom's house, the girlfriend's house, the drug dealer's house.
Remind the other people in the house how much it sucks being an accessory.
Well, that's one thing. You can do that for fun, but
you seriously might want to send him out because I got to come in there. It's legally it's gonna suck for you.
It's gonna suck for you, and the cops are gonna have all kinds of fun. So, element of surprise. Yeah, I thought the toss salad man. I thought he preferred syrup.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is for the wife that's letting him hide in the basement. So.
Oh yeah.
Women's prison, they're more grape jelly. It's
yeah.
They got to get their fruit in. They're on diets. They got to keep their figure for conjugal visit day.
And you are correct, Rono. I had to have a lot of intel. Sometimes you gotta lie to catch the liar. And yeah, lots of intel. You gotta have the element of surprise too. Because, let's face it, they are looking through every window, every door, because they don't want to be caught, you know? And then you realize, what type of criminal do I have? Do I just have a wife beater? I might need to bring the baton and prepare my MMA skills, because I'm going to be dragging this guy out through the door and hitting his head against the doorstop, hitting his head against the doorstop again, and then dragging him out, because he's going to fight me every step of the way.
What about the meth heads?
See wife abuser.
Good answer.
Yeah, because they're going to be they're going to be so geeked out that if you know you're dealing with a meth head, prepare for a fight. You're dealing with a coke head, prepare for a fight. If some guy's just there with a DUI, go in cautiously. Hope he's drunk, or if he's not drunk, hope he's on the crash down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you prepare, you prepare. Because there is that chance that one out of maybe 100 you're not coming back from. Because there are some guys that really don't want to go to jail at all. So,
Yeah.
but violence is not a part of the job. As I said, violent criminals don't get out on bail. If you're a murderer, you get the idea. You're staying in jail. If vehicular homicide, manslaughter, violent crimes, you're going to stay in jail. People that assault people, that's iffy. Just depends on why or what they did. In fact, would
And
you
how
like...
good of a college rugby player they are.
Yeah, sometimes. All right. Think about this. What is the exact percentage that of the people that resist?
Brock's always going to be the go-to
Yeah,
fucked up justice system reference.
pretty much. All right, but go like this. What do you think the percentage is of people that actually resist arrest? Be honest. I will tell you, to make it easy, go single digit.
5%?
Yep. 5% or less resist arrest.
Sweet. I'm going on Family Feud.
And on top of that, too, the worst you're going to get is they're going to try to squirm away or run away. They might throw a punch or two. Stuff you can block. And unless that guy is trying to kill me, I'm not going to even aim. Because, well, one, you're not getting a bounty if you're bringing back a dead bounty. Two, you can't really rough them up. Jails won't accept anyone with broken bones or large bruises. It's a criminal liability. A lot of the times, there was one guy that did try to resist. He threw a swing. I knocked him out. We had to call the ambulance to check on him. Because I thought, I screwed up. I had the bonds on him. She was mad. She looked, and she was like, nah, you just got him pretty good in the temple. She was like, you didn't intentionally rough him up. He swung, you swung back. They checked him, they said, give him some smelling salts, he's good. And the guy pretty much, we transported him to the hospital. At the hospital, as soon as they cleared him, took him to the jail. And they were like, hey, this guy's got a bruise on the side of his head. Oh.
I can say from the personal experience of some close relatives, on a similar note, you really don't want to be the guy that's caught having smuggled illegal narcotics
No, you don't.
inside your rectum, because That cop that has to sit there at the hospital with you until you pass that, you can't take you to jail with that still up the bunghole.
No, you can't.
That cop tends to be really, really annoyed at you when you two finally leave the hospital.
Right.
It's like that's just don't be that guy. Just don't put it up there to begin with. Just be like, you know what? It's in my pocket. Take me to jail.
Right.
Let's get this over with before you start getting really frustrated about having to work overtime on this shift.
Pretty much.
So, similar logic with our bounty hunter profession?
Pretty much. I'm not taking someone to jail, by the way. I hear myself. Okay. All right. 1. I've got the bail piece somewhere on me. The bondsman says, hey, here's my fugitive. Here's the piece. I'm giving you power of attorney to arrest this person on my behalf. Then we go through, we start collecting the personal information, social security number, date of birth, if they drive a vehicle, what's the make and model, what's their habits, where do they eat, what do they do at 2 a.m. Friday morning when the TV's on, that type of, it's the mundane stuff, you know. But
if I'm still awake at 2 a.m. watching TV, it's probably going to be Robot Chicken.
Well, yeah. But you get the idea. You got to know the mundane stuff. Because if you know the mundane stuff, the important stuff, you'll pick up pretty quickly. You also start looking for what Bob Burton calls the Judas. We all know the story of Judas Iscariot.
Yep.
That one person who's been scorned by the accused and is now willing to tell, hey, your suspect's here. Judas can be anybody. Judas can be the drug dealer. It can be an ex-girlfriend. It can be an ex-boyfriend. It can be mom. It can be dad. It can be the person who co-signed. And now they're ticked.
They're going to snitch.
Oh, they are going to snitch.
They're going to snitch. Snitch.
Yep.
You got to snitch. Snitch.
And on top of that, too, make friends with hotel clerks, bouncers, restaurants, bartenders. There's a reason.
Folks. Seriously. If you have never seen the Robot Chicken, Parappa the Rapper,
oh yeah,
that is just anybody that tried to play that game is just gonna fall in love with that skit.
Oh yeah. Also, you're reading through a lot of credit card statements, a lot of phone calls. You're doing a lot of searching through garbage. I'm not talking about information garbage. I'm talking about actually looking in the garbage. Because let's face it, you look through someone's garbage and you find an address that's not quite the address. Hey, I might need to look at this address in this magazine. That might be where they actually are.
Hey, there's still a slice of pizza left in this box.
Someone's here. Yeah. But no, as I said.
It hasn't even molded yet. This is fresh pizza.
Someone's here. So here goes. As I said, you make friends with bouncers, bartenders, the person at Waffle House, that gas station clerk, even that homeless guy that's talking to himself, sending messages to the King of Sweden. He might be crazier than a pet squirrel, but pay him $20, he's going to sing.
Yep.
Money talks.
Translator, but, he'll sing.
Yeah. Money talks. Even bouncers. I remember. Oh, profile construction. That's a good question. How long before I could predict, where they were at like it was magic? A lot of times it just takes, just basic habits. let's say you find random boxes of Marlboros right there at the location, and then you remember someone that told you that, yeah, he likes to smoke Marlboros. Then you think, okay, corner stores or bodegas or gas stations. You go to them. You seen this guy. You seen this guy. Or Mira del Hombre at the bodega, of course.
Yes.
Uh, after.
Remember, it's always important to ask yourself: is the guy I'm hunting down a dude bro? Because
Sometimes.
they're very predictable in their behavior.
Dude bros, drug dealers, abusers, crackheads, meth cookers, meth dealers, hookers, strippers. Oh, I got a story about that one, but not yet. Okay.
Should we go hunt down our buddy Jared? Ask him about the behavior patterns of the dude bro.
No, not yet.
I heard he had to. I recall him admitting he had to deal with a few of them in his time.
Oh yeah. But here goes. Basically, the corner store. You're like, hey, I got $20. What can you tell me about this person? I know they come here and they get this cigarette. A lot of times for $20, they'll be like, I don't know him, but my coworkers mentioned him, and my manager's here, and the manager's like, what do you need? Then you tell them what you want, slide them a 50, and then they're like,
That one girl that always works the noon shift, yeah, she'll squeal on him because he is constantly hitting on her when he comes in here.
sometimes you're right. Yeah. Sometimes that happens. Seriously. If it's mundane, don't ignore it, because it's a pattern. You have to establish patterns. Once you establish patterns, you can usually get them within that 24-hour period. But staking out is a pain in the ass. I don't even want to...
Even Sherlock Holmes often preached that there is no such thing as a detail too mundane when it comes to figuring out the thought pattern of your suspect.
Pretty much. Yeah, so staking out is a bitch. You're sitting outside of a house for hours. And you're like, okay, he shows up at this time. He gets this brand of cigarettes. He goes to the store at least once or twice, maybe 3 times a day. He wakes up at this hour. We're going to have to sit and wait here for him to come out, because mom and dad aren't going to let us in, or his wife's not going to let us in. She's going to tip him off. He's going to run. I don't want to do a foot chase. I do a foot chase through a bad neighborhood. Let's say I've got a case in North Nashville. North Nashville, I already told you stories about that, haven't I, Dave?
Yeah.
Rough. And I'm not the right shade. I go trying to chase a suspect through that neighborhood. I'm going to get roughed up by his homeboys. I'm going to get shot at. I'm probably going to get shanked. So you got to play it smart. And sometimes, when it depends on the crime. Let's say it's someone that got bailed out because they wrote a bad check, or they just missed it. Serious traffic violations, they missed court. It's somebody like, hey, just come with us. I don't want to put handcuffs on you. Let's just go to the jail. Let's fix this. That's all we want to do. Simple enough, right? However, let's face it. You get that one knucklehead. You get that wife abuser who's going to try to fight. That's when you're like, crap. So, sometimes you have to come up with a few tricks. I know one that super glued a guy's car door lock.
Nice.
One guy did pull some Looney Tunes shit and put a banana peel under the driver's side. Just imagine that. A banana peel under the driver's side. Imagine the hilarity. And the guy did step right into it. And you know what I said whenever that happened? Well, first thing I said is, I can't believe that shit worked. Honestly, you can't believe it. Half the stuff works. Sometimes it just does. So, you have to set up various tricks if the guy's going to resist arrest. If the trickery doesn't work, then guess what you got to do? Knock, knock. Who's there? Boom!
Say go in there Stan Hansen style and hit that Ledietto.
Yep. Search the house, find him, break down the door, take him into custody, cuff him, put him in the back seat, drive him to jail. Plain as that. So,
Or drive him down to the Bahamas and let JBL hit a clothesline from hell just for shits and giggles.
Sometimes. But it goes like this. One case to look up right now that's being challenged in history at the moment is Taylor versus Tainter. Basically, it's the case that gave bounty hunters the authority to act as agents of bail bondsmen. Basically, bounty hunters on the trail of a bail jumper could pursue him or her into another state, and if necessary, break and enter his house for that purpose. Of course, we've got the Bail Reform Act of 1966 that did allow a prisoner to be released with as little bail as possible to secure the return for trial. However, 84 Bail Reform Act, and that was after Brady was shot.
Yeah, the Brady bill.
Yeah. Well, two separate bills, the Brady bill and the Reform Act. Allowed courts...
It was the same shooting that
Yeah.
went off both.
It did allow the courts to hold accused persons without bail if they were deemed too dangerous for release. Which, what was that guy's name? He was obsessed with Jodie Foster. But that guy, that's the one who shot Brady. It wasn't Hinckley, because Hinckley was the one who shot John Lennon, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hinckley was...
Yeah, Hinckley.
Yeah, John Hinckley Jr.
Huh?
John Warnock Hinckley Jr.
Okay, that is the one who...
President
You're
Ronald
right.
Reagan. Yeah.
Yep, that is Hinckley. Okay, you're right.
Hold on.
No, you are correct. Yeah, he tried to shoot Reagan. Reagan was shot. Brady got in the way.
John Lennon was shot by Mark David
Chapman.
That's what I was holding on from. Like, wait a minute, now I gotta go back and think who shot Lennon. Yeah, that was Mark David Chapman.
Yep, Hinckley was obsessed with Jodie Foster and wanted him to witness me.
Which is really disturbing when you realize how far back this was if he was shooting at Reagan.
Yep.
Jodie was quite a bit younger.
Yep, very young. But yeah.
Let's see.
But yeah, basically, Reform Act of 84 made it to where if you were dangerous, you're not getting out of jail. Ever.
She would have been 19 at the time of the shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas he would have been another 7 years. So he would have been 26.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you were saying.
All right,
Yeah.
had a thought here. But yeah.
We're challenging, or somebody's challenging the initial
Oh yeah, they are challenging the
phase.
laws.
Yeah.
Chris Christie in New Jersey, where they're trying to do public bail and basing the criminals off of the most dangerous, they don't get out. But you get the idea. On top of that, uh, California just passed a new law which by the end of October 2019, the commercial bail system will be completely gone. Which just imagine the void in the industry in California. All these people that are bail bonds, you know, or bail enforcement agents. Some have talked about having to move out of California just so they can keep their jobs. Some are having to restructure. You get the idea.
Yep. Also, just to tie everything back to the stuff that we all got together initially over,
Yeah.
let's remember you can always have a good career as a bounty hunter after your professional wrestling career dries up. Just ask David Schultz.
Oh, yeah. Dr. David Schultz.
He
Yeah.
he did spend after his controversies and stuff that messed up his wrestling career
Oh, he spent quite a while.
injuries and whatnot. He did have quite a decent run as a bounty hunter for a while.
Yeah, in fact, let me look at his career. He he did have a good one.
I heard most of those details from when he was on the Steve Austin
Oh,
podcast.
yeah. Yeah, he moved to Connecticut and he started the organization, I want to say.
March 29th, 2018 episode.
Yeah, yeah. He did about 15 years,
Yeah, that's what yeah.
which is a pretty good run.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a long time to be, chasing down assholes.
Yeah. Yeah, like there has been some long careers in bounty hunting. Like the bondswoman I work for, she's going on her 20th year.
Yeah.
Dog Chapman's done his for almost 40 years. Burton, I'm trying to think how long he's been doing. He's been doing it a long time. And I'm talking about Bob Burton. He's done that. I want to say he's going on close to 40, 50 years. So, yeah, you can make a lucrative living. But you also have to remember that you are at the beck and call of the bonds person. And you have to consider this. One, you're on tow truck hours. Two, you can't rough up the person, take your frustration out them. Three, you have to bring them back alive to get your 10 to 20%. Four, everything you see on Dog the Bounty Hunter is the complete opposite. And you know why.
Except potentially the shitty coffee.
Oh, yeah, the shitty coffee. Shitty coffee. It's just shitty coffee. That's all there is. The shit coffee's the shit coffee.
And after enough cups, the coffee shits.
Yeah, it is a diuretic. It'll clear you out. So, you also have to remember, too, that check your state laws. For example, Tennessee, you do have to be licensed and you have to do continuing education. And you cannot be a felon. Nope. Texas, you're licensed as a Class 3 peace officer. And you have to be required to carry a gun. Why, thank you, Robin. Yeah, you do have to carry a gun because you're considered within the realms of a private investigator and a security officer, which means you're subject under some harsh Texas regulations. Colorado, you have to be licensed bail enforcement, agent. You have to do continuing education. I'm trying to think. New York, you also have to do continuing education. There's a chart on there. There's various state laws you have to look at. And you can go over to the Philippines and do the same thing. We do have a treaty with them. And bounty hunting is still legal because they used to be a U.S. protectorate.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those, you're like, well, you talk about all this stuff and it make it sound like it's pretty bad. No, it wasn't a bad job. It wasn't.
Just similar to the military and law enforcement in that, eventually you're just going to sit there and go, I'm tired of people trying to do horrible things to me.
Yeah. I got out of it after 2 years. I might have logged at least, in those 2 years, about 200 arrests. So about 100 a year. So yeah, I did my part in those 2 years. 100 criminals a year went to jail. Some of them deserved it. A lot of them didn't. So I'm going to talk about the part that I do agree with Dog the Bounty Hunter on. When you're in the car, that is a good question, Chrono. Do we process serving? No. The process is more on the bondsman's end. The bounty hunters just get the power of attorney to execute the warrant, more or less. As far as when we deposit them at jail, we do take them into processing, and the police take over from there because the bondsman's usually taking care of that paper. And they go from there to putting them in their cell. And also, remember I told you about the bond piece as well. That's your warrant. You pretty much give that to the policeman, say, here's their warrant. This is what they're for. This is a discharge of sureties. And they look at the paper and said, okay, and then they process them. So a lot of the processing is already done by the bondsman or bondswoman. After that, they take them into their own processing to their cell for the night. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. We'll talk later. But yeah. It goes like...
Damn it, Bobby. What I tell you about stealing all that propane and propane accessories?
Exactly. All right. But there is a part that I agree with Dog the Bounty Hunter on, and I tried to do that too. The car ride stuff. You know where he has them in the back of the car, he tries to talk to them?
Yeah.
That one is real. You do try to figure out, why are you in my car?
What possessed you to think this would end well for you?
That's exactly what it is. It really is. It's like, why are you in my car? What are you doing here? What have you done with your life? Or what were you going to do with your life? I mean, what were you going to be? Were you going to be a football player? Were you going to be a basketball player? Were you going to be a computer technician? Were you going to be a doctor? Were you going to be a lawyer? What are you doing in my car? What went wrong in your life that we're here? And some of those stories you hear, some of them are pretty damn heartbreaking. I know one stripper we had to arrest, she was sexually abused from age 8. And you're like, that's a whole lot of anger. It's like, I can't fix that in one night. You know? But it's like, you try to get inside their head and like, why are you here? And of course, I didn't handle the female prisoners at all. we usually had, if we were going after a woman, we had to have another woman bail enforcement agent with us. Just to avoid, any of that, those issues, any of that Me Too stuff.
Yeah. Oh God, did you see the thing about the statue of the iconic sailor kissing the girl when he came home for World War II,
Oh
getting
yeah,
defaced with Me Too graffiti?
yeah, that's a vandalism charge. That really is. But no, it
That
goes, it
like
goes like that.
seriously, I saw
Yeah,
that. I'm like,
yeah,
well, first of all, I didn't know they had put up a statue of that. That
yeah,
itself
yeah,
is cool. Seriously, your Me Too,
yeah, yeah. You just
really,
look.
bro?
All you can do is just look at it and shake your head. That's all. That's it. Uh, But no, it
That's
goes
where
like
you got
this.
to double down and look up the history of Steven Seagal's asshattery to go, okay, yes, this actually did start because some people really needed to be exposed.
Yeah.
Did start at a good place. I just have to remember that.
Oh yeah. It goes like this. You talk to them. Someone is addicted to their drugs. Their parents have left them. Someone is, you know, what's the best way to put it? There is some reason they're in that car, and you got to figure it out. And there's some guys that just won't talk, or some guys that just try to mean mug you all the time. They don't care. It's just like I'm going. Oh yeah, Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas. Yeah, that's a nice one. I haven't watched that in a while. I want to see if that's on Amazon Video actually. But no, you get a lot of these hardened criminals that try to say they don't care.
Lorenzo Lamas.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, they. You get a lot of these criminals, and they're like, I don't care. I'm going back in. I'll be back out, and we'll be doing this again. And a lot of the cases, they are. They're going to be right back in the big house again. The other thing that you might get people that are going to lie. You ever see that? I'll find the episode for you. There is an episode of Dog the Bounty Hunter where this girl kept lying. She said, "No, I'm not the person you're looking for. My name is Jenny." And she kept keeping up that lie too, and everyone's like, "No, it's her. No, seriously, it is her." And some of them do that because they think if they lie enough, it'll keep them out of jail. It doesn't work like that. So, what other questions do you have in your mind before we wrap up, man? I mean, you can ask anything about it because there might have been stuff I missed.
Um, ultimately, no matter how good you will never be as badass as those first couple generations of Pinkerton detectives.
Oh yeah, that's a whole
Not
different.
technically bounty hunters. They were private detectives,
They're private investigators.
private investigators. Yeah, but seriously, go read up on those guys.
Oh yeah, part of bail bonds is kind of inspired by them, by their, you know,
Yeah.
what what's it? But yeah, as far as Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, kind
You
of,
are so good at your job
yeah,
as an American that across the ocean, Conan Doyle has to work you into multiple Sherlock Holmes stories when Sherlock Holmes is putting you over.
yep,
You know what you're doing. The Pinkerton. But
and they always try to be so gentlemanly when they were being scumbags.
that's,
But no,
no, you have to be just a little bit better than them because
Yeah.
That's it's kind of the key to all of it.
Yeah, it really is. But no,
Yes, you have to do some bad things in the name of good, but you still got to try not to be a bad person.
right, right. Now, here we go. Let's recap. One, bounty hunters are illegal state by state, but only in the United States and only in the Philippines. Every other country, you're getting arrested or shot. Yeah, so in other words, don't try bounty hunting in Russia. It won't end well. Also, the people are more hardcore than you in Russia, so don't do it. The other thing, Taylor versus Tainter has given the authority for bounty hunters to pursue criminals across states that they're able to go to. Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio, New Jersey, California now. Those are the states you can't. Got that? Also, an important thing to remember too, bring them back alive. And also, 10% of your bail is what you're paying to a bail bondsman. And they get the rest of the money from an insurance company. You go to court, they get a successful case. You go through trial, you be a good person. Your cosigner gets their money back. The insurance company, Yeah, you get the idea. Insurance company gets their money back from the court. Your cosigner gets their money back. You get the idea. Everyone goes home happy. Oh, yeah. Black Dolphin with the Russians? No, they're not playing. They never are. They only play one game. And that's Survivor, the real game. But no, yeah. Go to court, be a good boy or girl. Everyone gets their money back. Everyone goes home happy, even if you get a jail sentence. You might just get probation if it's your first offense. Don't run. Please don't run.
Remember, when in doubt, go with the Jason Voorhees rule. If you run, you're just going to die tired.
Yeah, you are. There has been one case where someone tried to chase after a skip, and that person crashed their car into a tractor trailer.
Ow.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't want to chase him, and they didn't, but he insisted on running. You get the idea. And that haunted that bail enforcement agent forever. But yeah. So, I think that's all we got. I tried to educate and inform and just plain entertain you folks. We might come back sometime later with another one. It's been a good Tuesday. RouletteProductions.com. We're also at Robin's site, Rainbow Press and Comics. Look us up there. And we've got various Discord groups. Eventually we'll put some in here. Everyone have a good night.
And of course, you can keep track of updates on the website.
Twitter.
The Twitter handle.
Yep, Danger Reporter. He's David Horridan. Have a good one, folks.